Hello everyone. For today's video lecture, we're going to be talking about the equivalent point load via integration. So the equivalent point load is a single point force that is statically equivalent to some original distributed force. So if we have some original distributed force on some beam, the equivalent point load is a single point force, a single vector, that is going to cause either the same acceleration and angular acceleration as the original distributed force in an unconstrained system. So if it's just kind of a beam sitting in space, it would cause the same acceleration, angular acceleration. Or if we have a constrained system, so we have some sort of supports, it would cause the same reaction forces as the original distributed force for a constrained system. So it's statically equivalent to our distributed force. All right, so why do we want to use the equivalent point load? So distributed forces are difficult to deal with directly in our equilibrium equations. We want to deal with point forces. It's simply easier to put into our equilibrium equations and then therefore solve for things like the reaction forces. If we did put those distributed forces in there, we'd have integrals in our force and moment equations. Dealing with those integrals as part of a larger set of equations can be really difficult. So we almost always convert distributed forces into equivalent point load before proceeding with any static or dynamic analysis. It's kind of the first step in the analysis process when we have distributed forces. All right, so for finding the equivalent point load, for any point force, we must define the magnitude, the direction, and the point of application. So for now, we're only going to deal with distributed forces that have a uniform direction. So all of the force is pointed in the same direction, and that direction is just going to be maintained. So direction is just kind of carry forward from the distributed force. The other two pieces, the overall magnitude and the overall point of application, that's what we're going to need to solve for with our examples here. So to determine the magnitude and the point of application, we're going to have two options. So we are going to do calculation via integration. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video lecture. Or we have calculation via composite parts. So that is going to be a separate piece, a separate video lecture, kind of next piece in this chapter. So as a lead-in to why this works, let's talk about a certain system. So imagine we have a cantilever beam with a few forces acting on the beam. So here's our beam, it's anchored on the wall, we've got three forces acting on it at specific locations. So we might find the magnitude and location of a single force that is statically equivalent to the set of forces with the following. So if we have some FEQ, this is some single force that's going to cause the same reaction forces. How would I find that? Well, FEQ, the overall magnitude of this just has to be the sum of those three forces. So 60 plus 30 plus 50, add those three things together and I find FEQ. All right, so how do I find the location? So XEQ, in this case, how far along the beam is it located? Well, it needs to cause the same moment. So FEQ times XEQ, force times distance, must be the same as the sum of the moments of the three pieces. So 60 times 5 plus 30 times 7 plus 50 times 10. That is the force times distance for each of the three pieces. So these two equations could be used to solve for FEQ, the magnitude, and XEQ, the location of our equivalent point load for three separate point forces. So this same strategy is going to be used with integration for distributed forces. So we can imagine a distributed force as an infinite number of very small forces. So rather than summing all of these forces, so rather than 60 plus 30 plus 50, we're going to find the magnitude, FEQ, by integrating the force function. So the integral, or the area under the force function curve. So the integral of f of x dx is the kind of sum of all of that infinite number of very small forces. So an important step in defining this, though, or finding this, is we need to know what f of x is. So defining the force function is going to be an important part of the problem. In a 1D problem like this, the force function will give you the magnitude of the distributed force in units of force per given length. So in this case, it'd be like newtons per meter or pounds per foot at any given value of x. It's essentially the equation of this line right here. So it might not always be a line, it might be a parabola, it might be some other shape, but the force function is the mathematical equation of that shape. And we're going to need to know f of x before we find the integral of f of x. All right, so once we have f of x, we take the integral kind of from the left side to the right side of that. We have the magnitude FEQ. Now we need to find the XEQ, or the location, point of application of our equivalent point load. So again, we go back to our earlier example. The moment exerted by the original distributed force must be equal to the moment exerted by the equivalent point load. If that's the case, we're going to use the moment integral of our distributed function. So the moment integral is rather than the force times distance we had before, it's going to be the force function times the distance. So our force function times distance x in this case is going to be the moment integral. So here we have the moment integral, f of x times x. We take the integral of that from x min to x max, kind of left side to right side in this case. So that moment integral must be equal to FEQ times XEQ. That is the moment of my equivalent point load, force times distance. All right, so by rearranging the equation we had from the previous slide, kind of balancing those moments, we solve directly for XEQ. It's basically the moment integral, f of x times x. Take the integral of that from left side to right side, divide by the magnitude of our equivalent point load, FEQ, which we solved for in the previous step. That'll give us the location of our equivalent point load. All right, so once we have the equivalent point load, what do we do with it? So you've identified the magnitude, the location of the equivalent point load. You can use the equivalent point load in further analysis, put it in your free body diagram, put it into your equilibrium equations, put it into the equations of motion. You should be able to solve for things like reaction forces and also things like accelerations based on your equivalent point load. The one exception to this is we cannot use the equivalent point load when we're examining internal forces or moments. So if we are dealing with internal forces or moments, we need to leave the distributed force as is. More details on that will be covered in the internal forces chapter of the book. All right, so that was for a single force along a line. What if we have a discontinuous force function? So occasionally we come across an f of x function. We cannot write it out as a single continuous function. And in cases like this, we split the function into sections, integrate each section in its given range, and then can add the results together. And for an example of this, so here is a discontinuous force function. So it's a constant for the first little bit, and then it turns into a line. There's no single mathematical function f of x that's going to describe the entire length of this, but I can easily come up with an f of x for section 1, going from x1 to x2, and a separate f of x for the second section, going from x2 to x3. To find the FEQ, I simply need to add together the two integrals. So I'm going to integrate f1 of x from x1 to x2, integrate f2 of x from x2 to x3, add those together, that gives me FEQ. To find XEQ, it's going to be a similar process, so kind of interpolate this out. We're going to take the moment integral, f1 of x times x, integrate that from x1 to x2, moment integral for that first part. We do the same thing from x2 to x3 with the second force function. Add those two integrals together, divide by the overall magnitude FEQ, and that'll give me the location XEQ of my equivalent point load. All right, and then last thing we're going to cover is what if we go to full-on surface forces. So if we spread a force over 2 dimensions, so x and y, we've got a surface here. First step again is to define the force function, and this is the big difference. So this will define the magnitude of the kind of pressure in this case. It's going to be newtons per meter squared, which is a pascal, or it could be things like pounds per square inch, etc. The force function is going to be in terms of both x and y. So our force function in this case would be something like 5x plus 10y. It could be different. It's going to be whatever describes the pressure in your given instance. And then once we have the force function, we're going to take the integral, so the volume under the force function in this case. So rather than the area, since we had kind of a 2D shape before, we've got a 3D shape now. The volume of this is going to be the magnitude of the equivalent point load. So we're going to need to integrate the force function over the whole surface in order to find the volume. So the surface integral of f of x is equal to FEQ. All right, so calculating the surface integral, how do we do this? We basically need to integrate each axis in succession. So we're going to take our force function, integrate that with respect to x, and then we take whatever that integral is, we take the whole result of that, integrate that with respect to y, and we'll find our surface integral. So the surface integral earlier had these kind of two, it was a double integral shown there. And you can see it's basically a double integral. We're integrating with respect to x. And in each integration step for that first piece, we are integrating with respect to x. So we just treat y as a constant. And then in the second step, we integrate with respect to y. And then we ignore anything that's x. You shouldn't have any x's at the second stage. But you are integrating with respect to y after you integrate the first time. All right, so to find the point of application of the equivalent point load, we now have two numbers. We're going to have an x EQ and a y EQ. So for an x and y location of the equivalent point load. And if we multiply the force function by x for the x coordinate and y by the y coordinate, we're going to have two separate moment integrals. So f of our force function times x, take the surface integral, that's a big long process, divided by FEQ, that gives us XEQ. If we take that same force function and multiply it by y, take the surface integral of that, and then divide by FEQ, that'll give us the y location of our integral. All right, so that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again.